There's a gap or a hole in every artist's life. Seemingly endless, this abyss always leaves you wanting more. It's as if every step you take to fill it, every word, note, brushstroke, is the chosen form of a kind of puzzle piece, locking into place in order to bring you closer to wholeness. However, each empty spot that is occupied only uncovers another. All of this is related to fulfillment, but what are the risks that you and I are willing to take to achieve it? And as long as you live, the pursuit of it will never end.
As soon as the band sets foot in the recording studio, we're at the mercy of chance. Despite our preparedness, no amount of practice or memorization can make us immune to the unexpected taking place. Like with any other form of risk-taking, there are countless factors that have the potential to create uncomfortability, setbacks, and frustration. What if my guitar strings snap in the middle of a take? What if our tracks are accidentally deleted or lost? Could all of this time, money, and effort end up being a waste? After all, nothing ever completely goes to plan.
You know what? Spending the amount of money that we did to make this EP a reality, that's probably the biggest risk I've ever taken in music in my life.
Some specific risks that I've taken are, like with our first show, Amplifies the Show 7.0, which was a great time, played that in the fall. I was told by some people that I didn't have enough time, that it wasn't going to work out, that maybe it wasn't a wise idea. Like, part of taking those risks is doing not exactly what you want, but what you feel is right and what you feel is going to bring you that fulfillment, truly. And I knew that playing that show was the right thing to do, and so I stuck with it. And we ended up winning that Battle of the Bands, which was incredible. And I kind of saw a new perspective from playing like a real gig and succeeding really well. It was just such a great opportunity.
Tristan and I, the founding members, met in March of 2022 at our church's youth group, immediately connecting over our shared passion for music. Both of us had much experience performing, mine mostly through musical theater and the aforementioned church we both attend, and we were both involved with the music programs at our schools. But we had yet to participate in an actual band, and after a single jam session at Tristan's place, we decided that we should form one together. The goal was to be real, to be genuine. So we named the band Revera, after a Latin term that means real or non-fake.
It's interesting to see like how total strangers can interact with something that I've created, something that is vulnerable and something that is like, you know, like a part of me, and seeing their thoughts and their different interpretations. different people from different backgrounds and musical interests and other stuff like that, they see it in a totally different way. They can like apply your lyrics to different parts of their life. Seeing music transcend like our bubble, our little community is very interesting.
In December of 2022, Revera entered the studio for the first time to record our debut single, Implosion, which landed on all streaming services in February 2023.
Some people were like just telling us how good it sounded. Like I had some people say when they put on like, you know, like a playlist designated to them, that sometimes our song is the first song that comes up, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
A little story. The gym that I work out at, I was able to get the manager of the gym to play Implosion throughout the gym so that everyone could hear it. And didn't seem like anyone was throwing their weights around getting angry about how bad the song was. So I'm fine with that kind of reception.
But even better than the love and the support was the constructive criticism. I think that that's very important, because with our first time recording music and putting it out, we did have a few gripes, we did have a few things that we could have done better that we knew off the bat. But having other people guide us and give us advice, it's nice to have advice and guidance through that as we can build up to finding our sound and refining that sound.
For our very first time recording music, it was more successful than I could have hoped. The obstacles that we did experience became opportunities ripe for learning, and would determine whatever project would come next.
Am I okay here?
Yeah, you're great.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's our diagnosis. Boredom is right. Destructive addictions that keep the clock ticking are killing when your dreams ignite. Ooh, what to do? Give me mine, I can lose. Ooh, just can't wait. Fix up a heart I can break.
Like a goofball, but whatever.
Oh shit. Goofball.
That was great.
But that wouldn't be the last time we worked alongside Sandro. In Art Tenure in the Studio would continue soon.
Hi, I'm Sandro Dominelli. I run Dominelli Studios in St. Albert, Alberta, Canada. And I do a lot of engineering, producing, mixing, mastering, and everything else that comes with music.
Sandro's a good guy. He's very easygoing and generous when he needs to be, but he can also crack down and like, okay, we need to get to business here when we need to, right? So he's a good leader when it comes to the studio and stuff.
All right.
We're gonna be good. That's gonna just be a setup, and for scratch, that's gonna be simple. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So then we'll.
Do you guys still need the room tonight? Because you're more than welcome.
No,
No, I don't think so. I think I should probably head home.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Then I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds good.
Okay. I'll follow you guys out too.
Okay.
You know, anything you do in music can be a risk. You know, whether you buy a piece of gear or you spend tens of thousands of dollars in a studio, which, I've done all of that. So the risk is always there. It's the reward that you're waiting for that may show up or may not, but at the same time, you have to define what the reward is. And the reward for me has always been being able to be associated with this art form. It's not always, the best when it comes to, monies and things like that, but sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but most importantly, it's being involved in this art form, and it's part of my life. So to me, that's everything. And as you get older, you start to find out what's important in your life, and you find out that if music is something that's grabbed a hold of you, you cannot deny it. You have to answer the bell, and it's part of your well-being, and so I've taken some risks, but I'm not too concerned about the reward. As long as I'm doing what I'm doing, maybe this is the reward. I'm still here doing it,
Sandro is great to record with. The first time we came in here to do Implosion, I was just blown away by this unique balance that he has of being kind, supportive, and understanding that we're young and we don't do this very often. This is our first few times, and with the EP, our first time recording a body of work, which is quite a bit different from just one song.
It's good. I think he has a certain authority over the band sometimes, right? A lot of music producers just do whatever the musicians say blindly, but it's nice that Sandro has a little bit of a perspective on what we do, and he, helps us amplify our sound to make us better instead of us just going in whatever direction that might lead us to an ultimate doom as a band.
Sandra and I have probably spent more time than anybody else in the band have with him, because I actually did some recording, mixing, and mastering lessons with him. There I learned a lot from him and about him too, and kind of how he works, and he kind of learned how I work, and I think we've really understood each other when it comes to the musical side of things, so we kind of get where we want to lead with different ideas and stuff when it comes to the music. For that guitar that comes in at the very beginning, I don't think that should be stereo, just one track for that one.
Yeah, well, you bring those to the meeting and we'll just chop it. The first thing I think that knocked me out about the band was its honesty. And what I mean by that is that I think that all of, even though the band went from a 4-piece to a trio, with a special guest on this particular recording, back to the trio, the core of the band, I've always noticed the honesty of the three involved, and that is on how the music's written, how the music's approached, how it's dealt with, how it's rehearsed, how it's criticized, how it's reworked. That's what I mean by honesty. I just always got a sense that the band was in it for the right reasons, really wanting to put out the best music they can. Even when it came down to our talks with Tristan in production values and what we wanted to try to achieve, you could see that he or the band were looking to get to that next level or do that next thing. So the honesty was really obvious to me about what you're doing. I think that that's a really big deal, and that's a really cool, important aspect to success, in my opinion.
Lineup changes have become almost a guarantee when it comes to rock bands. If a band exists long enough, chances are they will experience a shift in membership. Music is the sum of all of its participating parts. No matter the kind or scope of a band member's contribution, the product will be different following their departure.
At that point, we were kind of going as strong as we are now. And we played the show, we won, and then we recorded Implosion a couple months later. And after that, some stuff popped up, and unfortunately, the drummer had to go. That was a struggle. That was difficult because not only did we lose somebody who was vitally important to the band and definitely a skilled musician, but we also kind of lost a friend too. But you know, that's life. And after that, we kind of had to take a hiatus and just lay low for a little while because we couldn't really do too much, just the three of us, until we started, you know, brainstorming, getting back into the groove, you know, solving these problems that we had of not having a drummer.
In my own experiences, losing a person who occupied such a vital role to Revera's sound and live appeal was tough to recover from. Musically and interpersonally, our dynamics seemed to have changed, leaving a sort of imbalance that took us longer than I had hoped to bounce back from. What may seem like unfortunate circumstances within that moment, though, have the possibility of heralding an evolution of your band. Who knows what the future may hold?
I love my other bandmates. They're great guys. With the musical interests that we have and that we share, it's just great to spend time with them, whether we're making progress on like anything that matters or just fooling around. Yeah, these guys are great. Just worth it to spend time with. I know they have my back and they support me. And now playing together for almost a year, it's definitely different than it was before. We have more musical chemistry. We have more kind of relational chemistry, and that definitely like influences our sound and our confidence as musicians.
Hey, Mateo. And Josh.
Y'all can come out of the hiding now.
So, here, Mateo, you want to come see if this kind of, is that the right height?
Did we get a tune, buddy?
Well, I was hanging around at my school, Belrose Composite High School, and in my little music class, there was this guy, this weirdo, totally a weirdo. Tristan's a weirdo. Was playing with his guitar, and he sounded good. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is, he's an actual musician. There are a lot of people in those classes that don't know how to play any instruments at all. So he stuck out amongst the group. And, he discovered the same thing about me, that I like to dabble in music more than some of the others. And he came up to me and asked me, hey, are you a drummer? I said, yeah, I'm a drummer. I go over and audition at Tristan's house with Mateo along with him. And, the audition went fine for me on drums, but later that day they were hearing me play bass. And they said, there's no way we can let this guy be a drummer. So they made me the bassist of this band. Failed drummer. On cloud nine! Hey!
Add scratch then?
Add scratch.
All right. Stuff is good.
That's the short version, Ad Scratch.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys are like, what's his name? Ted Nugent. Cat Scratch
Cat
Fever.
scratch fever.
There you go. Ad Scratch. You guys are like the hip version of called Ad Scratch.
I talked to, I think it's my grandfather, about my uncle, because I knew he was a musician. And I'm like, did he ever have any music of his own or anything, or any recorded stuff? He's like, oh yeah, he's got like some stuff on, Apple Music, Spotify, or whatever. And so I go looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Like somebody, like, that I know that's close to me was able to write, record, and put out music for anybody to see. And so yeah, it was this really kind of eye-opening moment that I just kind of figured out that, you don't have to be some crazy famous musician to have your own music. Music comes from just, regular people. One of the big things we did different with the EP was we wanted to break away from the kind of acoustically controlled sound of, of today's generation of music. Everything is recorded in a booth or so perfect, no other sounds, everything is like the whole room is dead. Can't, there's no like natural reverb out of the room or anything. So what we did is we basically recorded the EP out of a garage. Dominelli Studios is built out of kind of an industrial building, and so it has a kind of a loading area with a garage in it, and that's where we recorded everything. No soundproofing, no nothing. It was just a big open empty room so that we could get a really nice sound, and I think it worked.
What?
It was so hot out there. How is it raining?
Oh, boy.
That could be really bad for like us
Oh,
recording.
One of the funny things that happened is we got everything set up, everything was ready to go, all the preamps were set, all the mics were in the right placement, everybody was warmed up, and then all of a sudden it starts to rain. And being in a big sound chamber, garage, you can hear it really well. And then we hear thunder, and that kind of sucked. And Sandra's like, I don't know how we're gonna do this, guys. So we waited a little while, kept on getting some more things ready, and we were prepared to just live with it.
Even like when the drums are like playing and stuff.
We'll see.
Yeah. Can you hear it in that room?
Well, that room doesn't matter.
Like, hell or high water, we were gonna get it done.
Okay, so Mateo, you can just press 6 and you can get rid of it. Mateo? Mateo, number 6?
Yep.
And you can get rid of it. Just press 6 and get rid of it. Tristan, without me coming in there, is your number 6 turned all the way up?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to tell you if you can't hear it. Do you have your headphones high up the level?
Yeah, the level is all.
Do you have the limiter really hard left or really hard right?
It's really hard left.
Okay, listen to the click and start turning the limiter.
So. Your monitor.
What about it?
Snare is 2.
I'm getting all of them, but snares too. Yeah, snares
Turn it
too.
up or down if you want. Yeah, they're up pretty high. On mine at least.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so it's learning how to work that, right?
Yeah.
Let's practice by just playing again the chorus and tell me if it's good.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, chorus now.
Bury all you know and bid farewell to blissful ignorance. The big ones can no longer shield your eyes. All these severed ties and visions of a false reality. It turns out they're just lost souls trading blows.
Maybe we'll bring you guys in here and listen to your take and Mateo's voice and see if it's something we want to roll with.
Well, I think with the EP, we knew, number one, we had to spend more time on vocals, because with Implosion we had one day, I think it was around 6 hours, I believe, and very little of that time was spent on vocals. Like, it was pretty quick. I got in the room, Sandro set everything up, and we did a few takes and that was it. No notes, no checking back really, which that's not on him. I'm not complaining about that. But I think I should have just slowed down a little bit more, realized that we had more time. Like, later on we were kind of just playing around with extra instrumentation and little fun bits.
Well, this song is angry, man.
We're gonna make each other ugly, or make each other mad. So we're gonna make each other mad. Ugly?
If you guys follow the MP3, we might get into a little bit of trouble. Hard to say. I would stick to the click.
Okay. So,
That helps.
take after take, you're so tired, especially playing drums, because like I said, you're physically fully involved in the music, drumming is cardio, man. It's a workout. Yeah, so you're like doing take after take. You're out of breath. You just, Sandra's in your ear like, one more take, guys, come on. Like, let's do this. Last one.
Yeah. For some reason, my mind just naturally wants to go to something simpler. I don't know why.
It's a lot of work on everybody's part, but it's worth it.
I even plug in directly, just like here, just like you did with your solo.
Cash is our stage presence. Cash carries all the energy of the band, and he's the goofier, more, funny kind of band member. Mateo, he's the more serious kind of sanity check guy. I'm the one with the stupid, weird ideas, like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this.
Yeah, this tune might be more consistent too with the other two,
Yeah, you're right.
If it is you guys want to do 3.
While we were at the studio, we wanted to record one of our songs, The Shipwright, an acoustic song with kind of a moody feel, and it kicks into some distortion with guitars, and like it gets kind of heavy. It's a really cool song, but it ended up being in a really weird time signature, and we just could not nail it. Don't know how we nailed it down here in the basement with the demo, but we could not record it for the life of us.
We could keep doing what we're doing until we get it, which chances are, not only we probably won't get it, but if we do, it'll take forever.
Yeah, you're right.
Another option that we have is to take the demo, take the stems of each track, okay, work on that, send it to this guy.
I'd say we
That's
yeah,
a
we
way
have to.
better choice, right?
Well, because obviously I was able to do it before, so.
right, I think
It's just
the stem
the
route is
drums-
a much better way to do it.
The drums that are in there are throwing me off as I'm trying to play to them, right? Because there's such crappy drums.
And so we ended up going to On Cloud 9, which was something that I didn't expect to happen. I didn't think we were going to be recording that song.
That was some great drumming, man. Like, really, really good stuff.
People are gonna want to get that live, and it's just like, I can't
Oh man, playing that live is so sick. I think that guitars are a must tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like in the big room.
But we all know everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
Except for the solo that I may have to do for adolescent scratchings. I didn't have enough time because I was like so busy planning everything out and like doing drum stuff. So I don't have a solo. But we could even DI that after.
Sure, if you're cool with that.
Right.
Okay. I'll let you guys deal with that.
It was really cool. And sometimes that's how the best songs come, is not by, months of preparation and waiting to get it ready. It's just, sometimes it's kind of right there in the moment.
I think if it weren't for how great those first few times with Tristan were, and it's still great to this day, I wouldn't have been as invested in songwriting, wouldn't have done it as consistently. I wouldn't have had the drive to improve my musical skills and to seek out shows in different avenues like that. So having someone else to share my motivation was really important.
What Mateo wrote for On Cloud 9 really fully encompasses that studio experience, the recording experience, And then Mateo had come up with the lyrics in, 6 or 7 hours over the course of one night and the next morning. And we had a new song, just like that.
To even have a musical career, you have to take risks. You have to, first of all, put yourself out there and have a willingness to fail and to come short and to not compare to the people that seem so great. Picking up an instrument involves that. Singing on stage involves that. Singing a song you don't know so well, maybe some new material, playing with other people. Like anything that's new in that musical sense, it requires to kind of give up your stress or your ego or your anything like that, and just, you know, kind of commit to that process and that experience. And then even stepping into record in the studio is a risk. As, you know, a teenager that doesn't have like a lot of money, like putting money into recording and getting in and doing the thing.
I'm being honest with you, like they were just as pitchy, if not more pitchy than Implosion.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Implosion was...
And I know you can, like, you're not an out-of-tune singer. It's just because you're trying to put yourself in key with the bass, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's almost near impossible.
Even though the bass is like, it was really loud, it was just hard to pick up on.
Well, it's such a low octave, right? So it's hard to match
Yeah, exactly.
when you're singing up in a high.
It wasn't easy, but I'm so glad that we did. We had that experience, and that's going to further inform the way I record music for, you know, the foreseeable future.
Flirting with collapse, a pile of vacant bones. One look around the room proves that I'm not alone. Tattered wills and sweat-stained clothes, clinging on to weary hopes. To create is our joy, our pain. This lifelong quest never in vain. Worth it all. Can you feel your spirit soar beyond these walls? On cloud nine, on cloud nine, on cloud nine, on cloud nine. Hey!
We will retain the memories made through these experiences. Every peak and valley that we faced throughout the process have been shared between us. Whether being in the studio, behind the camera, or on the stage, we've developed as human beings and musicians, solidifying foundations that will be further built upon in the years to come. Additionally, any positive impact or impression we've made proves that our risk-taking produced something worthwhile. And of course, there will be the art, the music, images, and words that came forth from within us.
Yes, all of this can be quantified, but it may soon be dismissed. The only constant will be the inevitable reawakening of our emptiness. Then we will throw ourselves once more into a project that will promise to instill us with a sense of purpose. Knowing this, I ponder a question. Can our thirst for fulfillment ever be quenched? Are we destined to repeat the creative process over and over and over again, expecting anything different to finally be satisfied?
I'm Curtis Brooks, and I know the band. I got to know them by actually playing with them. So I got to play with Tristan, I got to play with Mateo, and that was where I got to know them, got to know what great guys they are first and foremost. So good musicians, sure, but if you're not good people, I won't work with you. So that was the key thing for me. So they're good guys, they're good people. Okay. Early on, there's a lot of struggles I found just trying to get by, trying to learn what you want to. You don't know what you don't know, and so sometimes you got to go through some difficult things, whether that's music theory, whether that's how to work with other people.
But I think those are the hardest things, are the interpersonal relationships. And so when you have good ones, you want to keep those strong. Let the other ones go. Hold on to the ones that are good.
I had a young kid who asked me the question. He goes, "So are you like sad and upset that you didn't make it?" And I said, "Well, first of all, let's define what make it means." And he goes, "Well, be a rock star or whatever, And I said, "Well, I guess I don't even know what that means, because that's something that's subjective as well. But as far as making it, I said I did make it, and I explained why. I said I make my living. That everything I do is in music. So I'm here today talking to you about music, and someone's paying me to be here." But I said to him, everything I do, someone's paying me, and everything I do has to do with music. So I think I have made it.
First and foremost thing, close to your heart, you're expressing yourself. And it's that need, I think a real artist has that need to express themselves. And people are people, like we all have these unique experiences, but when it comes down to it, we all know what it feels like to be sad. We all know what it feels like to be angry. And those are universal things. And so if we can express that in a unique and creative way that also gets across our idiosyncrasies, then I think that's the reason. That's why.
And so fulfillment for me is being lucky enough to continue doing what I'm doing and being surrounded around people who want or are just as inspired as I am about music, to continue to create it and record it and produce it and perform it.
Your relationships need to be good. You got to work on each other. You got to work with each other, and you want to keep that tight and strong. So any frictions, any of that stuff needs to be sorted out quickly, immediately, and with compassion for the other person, to put yourself in their perspective. What are they seeing? What are they feeling? You don't, I know, I speak from experience, you don't want those frictions on stage. It's a nightmare when the other guitar player or whatever musician won't look at the rest of the band, and you can't even communicate on stage. Your communication, you have to have it between band members.
I think that the very fact that the three of us are being fulfilled influences the fulfillment of the others. It's like an action and reaction kind of situation. I think that because we're all getting a lot out of it, that increases the overall fulfillment in our group.
I don't know, I think every single time that we gather together and mess around, I can't help but laugh at some of the jokes that we come up with. I couldn't really nail a specific story, but I think, you know what, I still have memories in my head that play whenever I'm driving alone, and they make me laugh.
What's a bigger risk too than stepping in front of, whether it's 5 people or it's 500 or 5,000, there's people watching you do what you do. And it's, especially if it's your own material you're putting out there. It's one thing to play, and I've done it, I've played covers in front of, hundreds and hundreds of people. But when you go out there and you step out there and put your own artistic expression in front of people, that's a risk. People might hate it. And at the end of the day, you still got to believe in it. So you got to be able to go up there, even if people didn't like it, the next time you still got to go up there and believe in it. And, to put yourself out there, that's a risk for anybody, I think. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Thank you.
Well, good job, Tristan. Good job, Cash.
I missed a few notes. That's fine.
Whatever, man.
I've taken quite a few risks, and that old saying, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. Well, not necessarily, and I can explain. The risks that I've taken is waited by the phone, waited by the phone that it's all going to work out, so I remember one summer, early in my career, I had a really good fall, winter, spring, gigging season, I guess is the way I put it. Had lots of gigs, so things were going well. And then that summer came up of whatever year that was, and I was waiting by the phone thinking it's all going to work out, and the phone did not ring. So I came to terms with that, and so I didn't want to risk that anymore for the summer, so I had to create and become entrepreneurial.
No jazz musician's expecting to sell out an arena, so it's, but for me, who wanted to play rock and roll, it was kind of realizing that. So those were the challenges, I guess, just trying to find your way through that. What do I want to do? Who do I want to play with? What do I want to play?
It's in the process of doing it, you know, that you find a lot of fulfillment. It's in the process of playing a show that you find that sense of, you know, purpose, I guess. And that's what a lot of fulfillment is to me, is a sense of purpose.
You got to be true to what you want to do. If you want to go out there and play covers, great, go do that. And do it with everything you got in you. If you want to create your own art, your own music, and your own voice, then be true to that, go do that. Don't waffle on what your interest is and what you want to do. Don't sacrifice that for anything else, really. Because just know why you want to do it and do it for that reason. So if you want to go out and make money, go make money. If you want to go out and create art and maybe have that risk of 5 people watching you instead of 500, go do that. You know, I'm not saying one's wrong and one's right. One's right for you in that situation, what your motives and your desires, just be true to that.
Streetlights are ushers to darkness. The shipwright crawls back to his cell. These memories too strong to repel. Rotten excuse for a doorway. Tethers an old grizzled bear. Hand and paw reaching for comfort. In the scars and gray fur share. Streetlights are ushers to darkness. The shipwright crawls back to his cell.